It is Saturday morning, October 12th, and you are doing live with the Let's Not Do This podcast. You got the Big O, Leon Oliver, sitting alongside 2 to 3 unwise men on this Prove It Saturday. This is the creme de la creme Saturday of college football. This is a Saturday that if your girl tells you we're going apple picking, you tell her, woman, we're done. Because this is the Saturday in college football. I don't care if your child's being born. I don't care if you're going apple picking. I don't care if grandma needs a tonsillectomy. You are going to be in front of the TV today, and we're going to get you ready to win some money for that. You got the Big O here, Leon Oliver, sitting alongside these two morons. A man that is now bringing out the Virginia apparel because they've managed to beat the Little Sisters of the Poor in football for a couple games. One, Chris Green, how are you, sir?
Doing great. Wahoo! It's going to be a great day today.
Yeah, well, we'll see. Those Louisville Cardinals are going to fly all over
sucks.
them. And then a man here who is much anticipatedly awaiting Virginia Tech's Thursday night snooze fest with Boston College this week. One, Scotty, how are you, sir?
Not too bad. UVA is going to get blown out. Did you say grandma's tonsil? What do you call it?
Tonsillectomy.
Tonsils taken out?
Yeah,
is that what it's called?
It's a rare thing. Most grandmas probably don't have tonsils. You know, they probably got them out in like the war in like 47 or something like that or other. I don't know, but
I think
that's how
like
rare it is.
12. I was like 12 when I got mine out, and they told me I was old.
Yeah, I still have mine somehow, some way. I was one strep throat appearance away from getting mine taken away. I still have tonsils and I still have wisdom teeth. How? I don't know. I'm a modern science miracle.
Or just poor.
Balls.
One of the
two. Hey, sir, if I was poor, would I be drinking this mighty fine bottle of $18 Rebel 100 Cowbush bourbon at 9:02 a.m. on a Saturday morning?
Advertising your alcoholism every Saturday.
Hey, this is college football Saturday, baby. It's time to go.
Poor people's disease.
And also, I was looking for bourbon yesterday, couldn't find anything to my liking. I am under the weather currently, and so I was going to make myself a hot toddy. I wasn't going to spend good bourbon to make a hot toddy, so I saw this Rebel 100 there on sale for $18, and thanks to PayPal and Venmo, I got $3 back. So $15 whiskey, you can't go wrong with that. And I like Cowbush, and it's the official beer of, official bourbon of Richard Childress Racing. So nothing says go get hammered on some bourbon and drive a NASCAR like Rebel 100. So there we go. By the way, how great would NASCAR be if they could have a couple of drinks and then go do it? They should have like a short track series. Maybe it's just go-karts where the guys have like 6 beers and then go get on the track.
Isn't that what the Crash Derby is?
I don't know, but we should. Can we go to one of those? Can we drive in one of those?
I'm not. I don't want fucking back pain for the rest of my life from that.
I will totally do it. You give me 6 beers, put me on the short track, and let me do it. I will totally do it.
I think you have to have a license.
See, that's the thing with racing there. And if we go south of the border,
Mark Martin always had his. That was my favorite racer back in the day. Not that I really follow NASCAR that much, but he couldn't like keep his license. He would always have something going on where he would lose it. He would get tickets all the time, and then he just like stopped trying to get his license back.
He had the need for speed. All right, well, we'll see. We should probably get our betting license taken away if there was such a thing with these picks so far this week. Before we go into the standings here, last night there was a little bit of college football action. Scotty, I think you had Northwestern plus 10.5 against Maryland.
That wasn't my podcast pick. I did hit 2 of my 3 last night. But no, I was on New Mexico State, probably the worst bet I've made all year. Well, no, I think the Appalachian State bet I made a few weeks ago was worse. But, yeah. But both of y'all hit y'all's college picks. We all lost the Thursday night NFL game. Yeah.
Hey,
I was on the right side of that. I was on the right side of the NFL game. That under should have hit. Seattle had a 4th and goal from the 9-yard line. What's that, a 25-30% success rate probably? 4th and goal from the 9. They don't get that, the under most likely hits. But that's gambling.
I was completely wrong about last night's Maryland Northwestern game, but I bet the over. I thought sure the Terps would take them out behind the woodshed, maybe get the over themselves. That did not go so well. And of course, I forgot about Maryland football under Mike Locksley. I didn't have time to load the graphic, but August and September, they're gangbusters. From October on, they're like just the most meek football team of all time. Totally forgot about Maryland football under Mike Locksley. So that was on me. But hey, I still hit the over, so I will take it. Scotty, where
they
go on.
Oh yeah, I pulled up the standings. I was just gonna say Maryland did kind of hit the over by themselves just because they had that late turnover.
Yeah.
That I secured that over for you. Let's see. Percent.
As he brings up the standings. And also don't forget, right now, Saturday morning, the Doing Lines podcast, and then Thursdays right back here on the same channel. We got the Let's Not Do This podcast, 6:45 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Leave a comment as well. We get lonely. We want to hear from you people. We're doing quite badly, and you haven't razzed us enough. So
Yes.
please, and insult Chris's intelligence, wardrobe, lack of money, personal appearance, morals, ethics, politics, cigarette smoking, driving,
I'm ahead of you.
gun safety, academics,
Scoreboard,
housing.
bitch. Scoreboard. Scoreboard.
All right.
But, yeah, as you can see here, y'all both gained a game on me Thursday and Friday. So me and Chris are tied, 20-26-2. Leon, you're 19-26, and of course, you would have the most push bets. You love your soccer and your 0-0 draws.
I got some second division soccer plays for next weekend, by the way, since we get done with the international break. Might have those for next weekend's show. We'll see. I'm cooking up a few things in the Croatian second division.
You don't have to.
Yeah, nobody cares.
That's where I make my money. All right, but as you can see, I'm not making money on football. And I think NFL, I'm taking a different approach this week. I usually have my handy-dandy notes that I've spent several days compiling stats and looking at numbers and advanced stats. I'm throwing that all away. I'm going Chris Green gut check on this Saturday morning for my NFL picks this week. No analysis whatsoever. I'm going gut.
Nice.
Moneyball is out the window for college for NFL. I'm one step away from going George Costanza, where I'm just going to do the opposite. If I have another shit NFL week, next week I might just do the opposite of what I think. I'm just going to fade myself. So
I faded myself on UNLV last night. I bet on Utah State plus the 20. Got a very late backdoor cover.
Rough night for the Beehive State last night with Utah State getting an ass whooped, and then Utah Cam Rising returns from the dead, and then
he shouldn't have.
Did the Utes go down?
He looked dead out there.
Yeah, he did not.
Literally, he couldn't. His hands messed up, and then 30 seconds into the game, he's limping around.
Yeah, that's what happens when you are a 47-year-old college quarterback.
That was rough. Yeah.
Sure.
Well, all right. Speaking of 47-year-old quarterbacks, this school used to have a guy who looked like he was 47 years old. Chris, I'll start with you here. Clemson. Remember when Charlie Whitehurst was there way back in the day? Good old clipboard Jesus. Him and Greg Oden were like the oldest college players, like just facial structure, I think, of like anyone else. But Clemson, the 10th ranked Tigers on the road there in Winston-Salem, taking on the Demon Deacons of Wake Forest. Clemson laying 21 points, over under 62.5. This is noon on the mothership. Chris, I will cede the floor to you, sir.
Clemson's rolling. Wake Forest sucks. Clemson minus 21. That's it.
Yeah, not a lot of analysis on that one. I can't blame you. I actually had this not in the show play, but on another parlay. I'm right there with it. I mean, we saw Wake beat a NC State team that just doesn't know how to close games out, and I don't know what the hell they were doing at the end of that game. But Wake isn't good. Wake is not good. Clemson's that team. They're a bully until they meet a bigger bully. In the ACC, Clemson's a bully. They're still going to push everyone around. This team wins the league and gets into the college football playoff, someone's going to kick the shit out of them. But they're the bully that's terrorizing their class until they meet the bigger bully on the playground. That's what Clemson is. And maybe that's what they're going to be for a while. But, yeah, Clemson's going to blow this team out. I like a minus 21.
Yeah, I kind of agree. Like you said, they're going to beat up on the not as physical, not as good teams. And when they have a step up, they'll probably get blown out again. So I guess I would agree. I don't know if I'll bet that number, but yeah, if I had to, I would take Clemson.
It's a big number, but I mean, Clemson can score in bunches. I feel like a team like Wake too, if they hop out to a start like Clemson did against NC State, where they just punch you in the mouth early and just hate to use that term, but blitzkrieg you very early on, they'll put you to sleep and it'll be over with before halftime. So, I mean, Dabo's going to have those boys in the ACC championship game yet again, probably it looks like. So, all right, so we're all on Tigers minus 21. So that means take the Deeks plus the 21 and a half there. Excuse me, plus the 21. All right, and then going from Clemson to their hated rival there, South Carolina on the road at number 7, Alabama. Tide laying 21 and a half points coming off that loss to Vanderbilt. Over under, it still feels weird to say out loud. Crimson Tide coming off that loss to Vanderbilt. Over under 50 and a half. This is noon on ABC and ESPN+.
Alabama's pissed, and they're going to take it out on the lowly Gamecocks of South Carolina. This is going to be a 30-point game. It's not going to be close. South Carolina, not that good. Alabama, very motivated. They don't want to lose another game before the SEC championship game, so they're going to make their presence felt today. Statement game, statement win. Alabama by 30.
I hate to agree with you 2 times in a row here, Chris, but I'm on the same side of this with you. South Carolina, I think everyone, their mom last week was kind of hopping on them. I think it was like +9, I want to say, 9.5 maybe against Ole Miss. And Rebs came out and just stomped them to the ground early. I mean, South Carolina, just even with Lenore Sellers back, that team is a little bit challenged offensively. You can tell they still miss a big play receiver in Juice Wells, who they saw last week playing for Ole Miss now. They just don't have the guns to compete with Alabama. And this is probably the worst spot a team has ever been in. You have Bama losing to Vanderbilt for the first time in 40 years. And now you have to go on the road to play that Crimson Tide team in Tuscaloosa after they're pissed off with a very embarrassing loss, probably their worst loss since Nick Saban lost to Louisiana Monroe, I believe it was, in his first season there. Yeah, it's not going to be pretty for the Cox. Tide pounds the Cox here. Take the 21 and a half that Bama's laying. I said that on purpose.
Yeah.
I said that on purpose.
Yeah, got it. Just like the WNBA players making that joke.
I'm unfamiliar with this. Okay.
Sure. No, yeah. Tarazi and was it Super and somebody else? I think they play like a game of how many times they can make like cock puns when they're doing their little show.
Okay.
Yeah. But I'm actually gonna go the other way on this.
Wow.
Alabama's at Tennessee next week, so maybe they're looking ahead. I just think everybody just assumes that Alabama's going to be pissed and come out and cover. On the other hand, South Carolina, they're pissed off too. They got probably more embarrassed than Alabama did. Alabama's defense is giving up points.
What's the difference?
Oh no, I can see a backdoor cover here for South Carolina.
What were you saying a second ago, Chris?
I was just saying they suck. That's the difference between South Carolina and Alabama both being pissed off.
Oh, Chris, I don't like that Chris is making like decent points today. He must be sober. He must not have drank
I'm
last
so
night.
sober. I have not drank this week.
He must not have had a cigarette yet this morning.
That's usually not good for his picks.
That's very true. That's very true.
Well, look, they beat South Carolina beat Kentucky 31-6. I know it was a few weeks ago, but Kentucky's beat Ole Miss.
Kentucky and South Carolina are like two of the most schizophrenic teams in the country week to week. You have no idea
exactly
what you're going to get. Yeah,
exactly.
All right. Well, we'll see what happens there. Then this one here, if I will say, this is one of my favorite games in the country, and it pisses me off that this is a 3:30 game because this should be high noon at the Texas State Fair. Number 1, Texas, laying 15, taking on the 18th ranked Sooners. I think Oklahoma is still down their top 4 or 5 wide receivers. This is at the Cotton Bowl there in Dallas, over under 49.5, 3:30 on ABC and ESPN Plus. This should be a noon game. Who's ever responsible for making this 3:30 needs to burn in hell. This should always be a noon game at high noon at the Texas State Fair. You go out at halftime, you get your corny dog, you get your funnel cake, you salute Big Tex, you come back in and you curse out a Longhorn fan and put your horns down. That's what you do at this game. And by damn it, the SEC, whoever did this, ESPN, you can go to hell because this should be a noon game.
Okay.
I like tradition.
I'm just going to stay away from that. All right. So, big rivalry game. This game is always close. 15 is a crazy number. We'll see if Texas is the real deal. If they can blow out Oklahoma, then they're the best team in the country. But Oklahoma's down. It doesn't matter. It's a rivalry game. They always play it close. So give me Oklahoma plus 15. This is the biggest and best rivalry in the SEC, and it's year one. Let's go.
I'm sorry, what? This is the biggest and best rivalry in the SEC?
That's right.
Are you forgetting about the Iron Bowl, sir?
Yeah, I don't give a fuck about them.
Are you forgetting
He
that?
doesn't know what a rivalry is because his rival beats him 19 out of 20 years.
That's very true. You know what? I pulled back on that one.
He's a little skewed.
I was going to make a Bobby, when you said beating, I was going to make a Bobby Brown reference, but I decided to not do that. But
we've made worse references on here. It's okay.
That's very true.
True.
But yes, no, come on, Iron Bowl next week's the third Saturday in October. I mean, this is a great game. Don't get me wrong, but this is not the premier rivalry in the SEC. Hell, I would say
the SEC.
To some Texas fans, this isn't even the premier rivalry. I would say to some Texas fans, it's A&M, even though they don't want to admit it. But this is a great game. It's not the premier rivalry in the SEC. Come on, now.
The premier rivalry in the SEC.
And the Egg Bowl?
Trash. Yeah, everybody cares about fucking Mississippi State. What have they done in the last 30 years?
Nobody cares.
I mean, that's what makes it so
nobody
great.
cares about that state.
That's what makes it so great is those teams usually aren't playing for anything, and the hate is that much. They had to create a trophy.
Team is relevant.
But that's what makes it so great is that when you don't have anything on the line and you hate the other that much, they had to create a rivalry trophy after a brawl on the field. They've had several brawls on the field.
Sounds like that's on par with Minnesota and Illinois. I'm sure they play for something. It's the Big Ten, whatever.
Every team in the Big Ten plays somebody in the Big Ten for something. It's like,
that's the rivalry of the fucking Egg Bowl. Nobody cares.
Our school president once lost a piece of Trident gum here at the 20-yard line. Let's play for it. It's the Big Ten. Yeah, I'll give you that. Yeah. They play for anything. All right, so I can't believe that you're riding with the Sooners here. Just nothing. And I have this. Do I have this on my card? Let me go back and look. I have my notes in front of me.
How do you not know what's on your own card, bro?
Because I've changed things. I've changed things a couple times. I had this one here, then I pulled it out. But I was looking for reasons to take Oklahoma plus the points. I just can't see it. That offense looks a little bit better with Jackson Arnold pulling the trigger there. They got to be able to run the ball. They're like top 4 or 5 receivers are out. I just don't see it. Quinn Ewers is going to be back under center for Texas. We'll see, as good as Arch Manning's played, if he gets in a little trouble, do they make the switch? Because we know what Arch can do. I don't know. I think this is – and I don't think Texas has forgotten what happened last year with Oklahoma getting that win. Also, there were a couple of Oklahoma players that wore shirts. I believe it said something like Texas fears Oklahoma. Oklahoma only fears God or something like that. Longhorns haven't forgot about that. And they're on a mission. They're on a mission straight to the college football playoff. They're on a mission possibly straight to the championship game in the college football playoff. Oklahoma's going to be a speed bump. They're going to steamroll this one. This is going to be like that year they beat them like 49-0 a couple years ago. It's not going to be pretty. Texas is going to roll. And I'm not a Texas guy, but they're going to roll over the Sooners.
Yeah, I don't know what I'm going to do in this game yet. I'll probably bet it. I kind of lean – I haven't looked into it too much, but I kind of lean Oklahoma with the points just because, like you mentioned, if Quinn Ewers struggles, they can bring in Arch Manning. But Ewers is starting, coming back off the injury. First game is this one, a game that they lost last year. I mean, I do think Texas will win. they are going to be probably looking for some revenge, but that 15 is a lot of points. And Jackson Arnold actually was the quarterback that started the season.
Yeah, that's right.
Michael Hawkins Jr.
Yeah, that's right. Sorry.
But so I mean, Oklahoma is playing better. They're going to have that underdog mentality. I think they can keep it close. And I kind of like the under too. I don't know. If I had to bet, probably Oklahoma plus the 15.
All right.
Fade Leon.
Fade Leon.
Probably a good call on most days of the week there. All right. So the recap for Chris here: you got Clemson minus 21, Bama minus 21.5, and then Oklahoma plus 15. All right, Scotty, moving over to you, sir, on your card. Vaunted ACC rivalry here, going coast to coast. Cal making the trip to the Steel City, taking on the 22nd ranked Panthers. Pitt laying the 3.5 points. Over under is 58.5, 3:30 on ESPN.
This is the biggest rivalry in the ACC. No, I'm kidding. I'm actually going taking Cal with the 3.5 points here. I picked Cal last week for a lot of the same reasons. They're probably the most physical team Pitt has played so far. Cal is due some good karma and maybe a favor from the ACC after getting jobbed by Miami once again last week. It's like I said, Cal's the most physical team. Pittsburgh has that number beside their name now, so they're probably feeling themselves a little bit. I think this game's just going to be a little different than the rest of their opponents. Cal, like we know, likes to run the ball. You can run on Pittsburgh. I think Cal can win this game. If not, they're going to keep it within the field goal. So give me the points.
Chris, any thoughts on this one?
Pittsburgh's at home, cross country. Pittsburgh minus 3.5.
Yeah, I love the way Pitt plays. I like Narduzzi. I mean, tough, physical, run the football. I'm going to go under in this one. And just Cal coming cross country. Yeah, it's a big number, 58.5 points. I feel like both teams are going to want to run it a little bit. I do like, it's Eli Holstein, the quarterback for Pitt. I mean, the Alabama transfer, he's been a revelation for that offense. But I kind of feel like this is going to be kind of a grinded out game. If Cal is going to win this one, it's going to be ugly too. So I think that'll kind of keep that number down a little bit. So yeah, I'm going to go under on this one here. All right. And then
I'd like to y'all both disagree with my pick. So.
Next up here, I'm going to go because you and I have a pick in common, Scotty. So I'm going to go to this next one here with Ole Miss and LSU. There we go. In Death Valley there, Tigers are getting 3.5 points as they host the Rebels. What is this, the Magnolia Bowl? I want to say they play for the Magnolia Trophy. I forget. Over under 62.5.
Another huge rivalry.
Yeah.
Well, this is a big rivalry in the SEC. Not huge, but it is a big rivalry. Go back to Billy Cannon's Run Through the Mud, Halloween night, 1958. I want to say punt return touchdown. Billy Cannon.
Exactly. Yeah.
You're not a college football aficionado, sir. Look up Billy Cannon's Run Through the Mud, Halloween. I think it was 1958. One of the best punt returns you'll ever see.
They had cameras back then.
Yes, they did.
Leon loves a Run Through the Mud.
I'm gonna take a Kaepernick on that one. Over under 62.5, 7:30 p.m. tonight on ABC/ESPN Plus. Scotty, you're up, sir.
Yeah. So Ole Miss has the better defense. They might even have the better offense. So obviously, I'm going LSU plus the 3.5 here. I just think LSU coming off a bye. Ole Miss has not had a bye yet. This will be, I think, their 7th or 8th week in a row playing. So LSU is going to be a lot more rested. If Brian Kelly can do anything, it's win at home since he's been at LSU. He's only lost, I think, one game straight up since he's been there at home. I just think that, Ole Miss hasn't really played a good passing attack yet. LSU is going to be able to throw the ball in them a little bit, I think. And I think they're just going to be able to put up enough points. I think they're going to be there at the end of the game, have a chance to win this one outright. So I think they're going to at least be able to keep it close and cover the 3.5.
I'm going to go under on this one here, under 62.5. It is a big number there. And one of the primary reasons I'm going to go with the under, because I think there's going to be a increased look at Ole Miss and how they play the game. That being from an injury standpoint. Shane Beamer talked about it last week in the post-game presser, kind of sarcastically wishing those guys well that had injuries. I don't have the video, didn't have time to load it in, but against Kentucky, you can see Jackson Dart motion to the running back, like go down on like a play. Ole Miss fakes so many injuries, and people have been reaching out to the SEC to complain about it, so much so that Ole Miss had to release a statement. And I can't remember if this was last night or early this morning, but the Rebels had to release a statement because teams have been reporting them not only to the SEC, but nationally here. This is from Ole Miss football. Feigning injuries has become a notable topic in college football. We realize our program has been part of that discussion. We have been in communication with the national coordinator for football officiating and provided relevant medical information for his review to answer questions about recent injuries. We have also updated the SEC office, and our head coach will communicate with our coaches and players to ensure we conduct ourselves properly and are compliant in this matter. If you watch Ole Miss, strategically, sometimes after a first down, they'll have a guy drop down if they make one. That's like an extra timeout. Or if the defense is someone's marching down the field, they'll have a guy drop down. It's like an extra timeout, an extra blow for the defense there. I really think this statement's coming out, which tells me there's been an increased focus on this. Maybe the refs are going to be looking at this a little bit more. Ole Miss maybe isn't going to employ some of those tactics. Maybe this doesn't give them so much of a breather. Maybe they run the ball a little bit more. I'm going to go with the under in this game here. Also, Baton Rouge on a Saturday night with all those drunk Cajuns. Yeah, I'm going to go under in this game here.
Yeah, I hate to agree with you, but that's where I'm going too. Yeah, both of these offenses have been, especially Dylan Gabriel's been kind of underwhelming. They're putting up yards, but they're not getting in the end zone. Which is going to be even more difficult against Ohio State. Both of these teams, probably the best defenses they have played. Yeah, I think we can see probably a slow start, and then maybe the scoring picks up in the second half. So maybe, we're kind of biting our nails on the you got the wrong graphic up there.
What, on the LSU? No, I got Ole Miss LSU. That's what we were talking about, right?
Yes.
Oh, yeah. I skipped ahead.
Yeah, I'm like, what are you talking about? No, your pick was Ole Miss LSU. I skipped down to Ole Miss LSU. I said we have a pick.
So we got two games the same. Okay. I thought we were okay. Well, we got two games in common then. I got confused.
Oh wait, did I? You know what? I need to update my other graphic. Never mind. Go on. We'll do that behind the scenes.
All right.
We're talking Ole Miss LSU.
I thought I already gave my pick on this.
Yeah, and then I gave my analysis.
All right.
You hopped in with the under.
Okay, and then you were like, "We have a game in common here," so I thought we were going on to the next game. All right, I already gave my pick for this.
Okay, Chris.
I guess you see where I'm going with the next pick.
Chris, any thoughts here?
I don't think Ole Miss is that good. They're going to get smoked in Death Valley at the night game. LSU is going to roll.
There we go. All right. So the recap for Scotty here. What did you take on this game again?
Plus 3.5. LSU.
Plus 3.5 LSU. And then you took what was it? Cal.
I do like the under too.
You took Cal plus the 3.5 against Pitt.
Yep.
Okay. And then you and I had this one in common here. So Ohio State at Oregon, number 2 Buckeyes at the 3rd ranked Ducks. Ohio State laying the 3 points, over unders 54.5, 7:30 p.m. this evening on NBC and Peacock. Scotty, the floor is yours.
Yeah, I already pretty much gave this pick away, but I like the under here. But yeah, like I was saying before, two struggling offenses. Will Howard, I mentioned Dylan Gabriel being underwhelming. Will Howard's been okay. He's done what he's needed to do, but he hasn't been overly impressive yet. 2 very good defenses. The crowd at Oregon, it was like 4 a.m. their time. They're already out at game day in the dark, going nuts. So I think it's going to be a very intense game. Like I was saying, probably the best 2 defenses either one of these teams have seen so far. Going to be a slow start. Scoring will probably pick up in the second half, but I think it's going to stay under the 54.5.
Big Ten teams 1-8 when traveling at least 2 time zones thus far in 2024. I'm sure we've all seen that stat all over the interwebs. I feel like Ohio State has been holding back offensively thus far. You look at that schedule and you look at how this team has played, it almost gives me 2023 Michigan vibes, minus the controversy. Like they've done enough to win, but they haven't really like blown your socks off. And you go back and look, they haven't played anyone whatsoever. And maybe they've been holding back what's in that tank. Maybe they want to empty the clip, so to speak, this evening in Oregon. But Outton's a tough place to play. You're going across country. As you pointed out, both offenses have been stagnant a little bit. I'm actually on this under as well for Oregon and Ohio State, which should be a absolutely fantastic atmosphere. Say what you will about conference realignment, but conference realignment giving us a game like this as a regular season game, I'll sign up for it every day of the week and twice on Sunday. Chris, your thoughts here?
I think Ohio State beats their ass. Oregon's fucked me over 2 weeks in a row at the beginning of the year. Fuck Oregon. A bunch of hippies. Let's go Ohio State for the first time in my life.
Wow, look at that there. Okay. All right.
I think that's how the game should go. I think Ohio State has clearly been the better team so far. But I don't know. Maybe Oregon has just been looking ahead to this game all season, and I don't know. I think maybe they show up tonight, something weird happens, and they cover. That's why I just went with the total.
Gotcha. Okay. And then as I actually mute my television there, sorry about that. All right, so pulling this out, going to my card here. Now, I had a game in common with Chris. I gave my initial thought, but I didn't run through everything on it, so I was going to circle back to it here with Texas and Oklahoma at the Cotton Bowl there. Going back to this, obviously, I'm taking Texas minus the 15. A couple other things that I want to toss in on this one, though. The 9 of the last 11 in the series have been decided by one score. And both teams coming off that bye. Texas is 10th in passing. Oklahoma's pass defense is 75th in the country. And Texas is 3-0-1 all time against the Sooners when they're ranked number 1. It's their first time as a double-digit favorite against OU since 2005. And Oklahoma's D, that's the only way they can win this is they got to win that turnover battle, which is so cliche for anybody to get an upset, but it's true. Oklahoma's D is third in takeaways per game at 2.6, which is third nationally. I know James Madison was ahead of them, and I forget the other team. I think it was Maryland, maybe, that was ahead of them. But that being said, unless Oklahoma could somehow manage to turn them over a bunch, Texas minus the 15. We already talked about that, but just wanted to submit that there. You heard me mention Ohio State and Oregon with Scotty. I'm going under 54.5 there. And then next up on my card here, you got Penn State, number 4 team in the land, making the trip from Happy Valley out to LA, taking on USC, over under 51.5, 330 CBS Paramount Plus. Once again, I'm going to go with that stat. Big Ten teams 1-8 when traveling at least 2 time zones in 2024. This is a big game for both coaches. James Franklin always has that, is he overrated? Can't win the big game moniker. Lincoln Riley, same thing. Can't win the big game. His teams aren't physical. That physicality, once again, is an issue for me with USC. Also for USC, will the real Miller Moss please stand up? First 3 games of the season, 3-0 for them, 72% completion percentage, 9.9 yards per attempt. The last 3, he's 1-2, 61% completion percentage, 5.5 yards per attempt, and 4 interceptions. USC is 111th in America in pressures allowed. Penn State, second in defensive pressure rate, and they're number 1 nationally in timed pressure. So they get after the quarterback quick. This line earlier in the week was at 5.5 when I first bet it. Penn State laying 5.5. It's gone down to 4. I still like it. I'm taking Penn State minus the 4. I don't think USC is going to protect the quarterback, and I think Miller Moss is going to turn this ball over. I don't think they're ready for the physicality of Penn State, and I think Katron Allen could have a good game on the ground for them too. And I really like Drew Aller. He's a guy who was a liability for Penn State last year, and that passing attack has been wondrous. And I just think They're going to win this game by 7 to 10 points. I like Penn State on the road against Southern Cal.
Interesting.
All right. I'll go ahead and give away my underdog money line pick for the week, but I think USC is going to win this game outright. You mentioned Drew Aller. This is going to be where we see if he's for real or not, traveling across the country. Big game. Lincoln Raleigh, his teams are like night and day as far as home and playing away. And yeah, like you said, big game for both teams, but this is a huge game. USC is going to be desperate. They have to win this game. I just think Penn State they've had one road game, and that was West Virginia opening week, so they didn't really have to travel that far. I just think that USC is going to come out desperate. They're going to be able to pass a little bit, and I think Drew Aller is going to give the ball away once or twice, and we're going to see an upset. Go USC.
Chris, you don't know much about Trojans. What do you know about these Trojans and how they'll do against the Nittany Lions?
I am operating purely off of vibes here. I haven't seen either one of these teams. But USC at home, Penn State coming across the country. USC's struggled against physical teams. I don't know. Coin flip. Let's go USC. Why not? +4.
Tisk. Maybe we'll have to take a side bet action on this. I would like to take your rent money on this one. All right. So to recap on my card, I got Penn State -4 here, and then under 54.5 in Ohio State, Oregon, and then Texas -15 there against OU. All right. Moving on over to the National Football League. Chris, I will start with you here, sir. On your card, you have Jacksonville taking on Chicago from London, Jags and the Bears. Bears 1-point favorite there. Over under 44.5, 9:30 a.m. tomorrow morning on the NFL Network. Will you be having a spot of tea and a biscuit to watch this?
No, I will probably have chocolate milk, a bowl of Reese's Puffs, and bacon, like a real American should.
Are you 6 years old?
I might be.
Good.
Wait, so is are you putting the chocolate milk in the cereal, or is it separate?
No, that's separate. We're getting double the calcium tomorrow. Got to keep my strong bones.
You eat a breakfast burrito and drink some bourbon and have a beer like a red-blooded American male, sir.
Burritos aren't American.
Well, it's Mexican American. It's our burritos, our breakfast burritos are very American. Tex-Mex.
Yeah.
They're not authentic. It's like American
Texas
Chinese
shouldn't
food.
be part of America. It should be still part of Mexico.
Oh, okay. Oh shit. What is that guy? Oh fuck! I forget the name of the German guy. I made a reference in the group chat the other week. The German foreign minister that sent the memo to Mexico to try to get them to attack us in World War I, and they promised to give them the Southwest back. That's going to come to me later. I forget his name, but okay, there, Heydrich. All right, so you got Jags and the Bears in London there. So go ahead with your pick here, sir.
I am going based solely off of what I need in fantasy this week, and that is a big game from Caleb Williams. He looked pretty good last week. Jags got their first win, but they still suck. Let's go Bears.
I have this game on my card too, so I'll go ahead and give my pick here and hop in. Look, both quarterbacks coming off their best game of the season. For Caleb, it's the best game of his young career thus far. And maybe we're seeing a changing of the guard in the backfield for Jacksonville. Tank Bigsby seems to be outpacing Travis Etienne right now. If they can, and Brian Thomas, the young receiver, become quite a weapon for them. I think they're starting to figure things out a little bit offensively. One key thing for me, and it may be trivial, is comfort. This isn't the Jags like designated home game. It's technically Chicago home game. It's at Tottenham, but Jacksonville is over here all the time. They play over here every year. They got back-to-back London games this year. They're at their UK home at Wembley next week. They know to travel. They've done this in and out. The Bears are coming over with a rookie quarterback, starting and going across the pond. Just enough is new for him, and then you toss this added wrinkle. It's enough to just throw things off kilter, and I feel like Jacksonville's starting to figure things out a little bit. So I like the Jags here, and I'll take them plus that 1 point in London. But I don't hate the over here either because I feel like these London games are always kooky, and I feel like this could be a 31-28 kind of game or something. But I'm going to take Jacksonville plus that point there.
Yeah, I don't know which one of you I would rather agree with. When it comes to NFL, I would rather agree with Chris, but I actually agree with you, Leon, on this one. Yeah, like you were saying, it's not trivial at all, the comfort thing. I think it's going to play a big factor. Rookie quarterbacks are 0-5 straight up in London. So Caleb Williams is going to have to break that trend. I don't think he's going to. The Jaguars, I mean, they have to win this game. They're 1-4 now?
Yeah.
Yeah, Bears are playing better, but I just think that trip to London, this is like a second home for Jacksonville. I think that's going to play a factor here. I think they'll win a close one.
All right, so you got the Jags there with me as well. They'll be jagging off in London there. I don't know. Jags Twitter, by the way, if you ever get involved in Jags Twitter, it's an interesting place on the Twitter spaces. Really, it's a congregation of Florida State, and Miami fans. Then you add in some disillusioned Georgia fans. It's an interesting place, Jags Twitter. I'll leave it at that.
Is it like the Saudi Mets Reddit or whatever it was?
Yeah. Was there like an Iranian Royals account or something?
Iranian,
yeah. It was Mets. Yeah.
Hey, go. Oh my God, So all right. Chris, next up on your card here, you got the Lions and the Cowboys. The Motor City Kitties laying the 3.5 as they head to Big D over under 52.5, 425 tomorrow on Fox.
The Lions are the best team in the NFC, and I don't think it's close. Minnesota's pretty good, but Jared Goff is better than Sam Darnold. So, with that being said, my AirPod just fell out.
You got the Temu ones there.
No, my ears are just weird. I don't like this number for the Lions, but I do like the over-under, over 52.5. Both these offenses are going to score. Lions will probably win in the shootout.
I like the over here as well, and I like it being helped by a Detroit defensive touchdown. I don't know why, but I see Dak Prescott strip sack Aiden Hutchinson, maybe strip sacking around the 6-7 yard line. Ball comes out, gets scooped and scored for a TD. I see the Lions getting a defensive touchdown in this game. I see them having a lot of problems blocking Aiden Hutchinson. But that being said, I do like a lot of points here. In this one, I like the over. And if Dallas is going to win, if they're going to be competitive, I think you had to have a big game out of CeeDee Lamb as well. I was listening to a show. I forget. I think it was Check the Mic podcast, and one of the props they were tossing out there were CeeDee. I think over 81.5 yards. I mean, that's a big number for him, but I think he has to be involved and has to be a big part of this offense. Ezekiel Elliott obviously still questioning his role in Dallas's rushing attacks. Obviously seems like he's been surpassed here. So I think they're going to have to figure out how to run the ball somehow, some way, maybe get the tight end involved. But Detroit has too much firepower. I do like them to cover that 3.5, but I'm officially going to bet that over 52.5.
Yeah, I kind of like the 3.5 points with Dallas. I would never put them on my podcast card though, just out of spite. And these, in theory, I agree with the over, but these high totals have not been hitting this year. I'll talk more about that in a minute. But yeah, so the over should hit, but it kind of feels like one of those weird games, like 24-20 or something.
Okay.
But yeah, that's all I got.
Gotcha. All right. So then pulling out here, and the New York Football Jets on Monday Night Football got the interim head coach going. We'll see who Aaron Rodgers gets fired next, allegedly. The Bills coming into town, laying 2.5. The last time they were at home on Monday Night Football, was that when his Achilles went snap?
Was that a Monday night game?
Yeah, that was a Monday night game. Was that the last time they were at home on Monday night? I think it was.
Yes, I don't fucking know.
I don't know.
Maybe a bad omen there. I don't know. I got to look that up. Our stat department will get right on that. And by stat department, I mean Scotty. Over under is 40.5 points there. Monday, 8:15 on ABC/ESPN. Which, by the way, you broke motherfuckers that don't have cable. ABC is going to pick up 6 more Monday Night Football games this year. So you cheap people that are watching it on KYRZT4,
Why are we?
Y2 stream.
Let's
whatever.
not do that.
Some of us gladly pay for cable, sir.
Yeah, that's fine, but some of us watch YouTube for entertainment because we can't afford cable, and they might be watching us. So fuck right off. I doubt it, but they might.
I believe in the class system, sir. Anyway, go on. We got Jets and the Bills here Monday night.
Weight class, you fat fuck.
Thank you, sir. It's much like in the olden days in England, being a little bit bigger is a sign of wealth.
So what does being a lot of bit bigger mean?
You have the means to.
So where's all your money?
It is $18 bottle of fucking bourbon.
Jesus, man, insane.
Anyway, go on here, Chris. What's your pick?
All right, so at the what was it, Tuesday or Wednesday when they fired Saleh? Monday? I don't know.
Tuesday.
Tuesday. So I immediately thought that the Bills should come out and steamroll them. But the way Ulbrich has taken charge, actually did what Saleh wanted to do by demoting Hackett. So he is no longer calling the plays. Defense, still good. Bills defense, awful. Josh Allen kind of going back to doing what Josh Allen does, which is everything and nothing all at once. I like the Jets plus 2.5. I hate that I like the Jets, but I like the Jets plus 2.5 this week.
Okay. Scotty? Wow.
Yeah, actually wrote in Bills minus 2.5. I figured that was going to be his pick. I know he hates the Jets. I hear what you're saying with the coaching change, and maybe that lights a fire under the players, but I don't know, man. I feel like it's going to become Aaron Rodgers versus the rest of the team unless they start winning. And I just kind of feel like that locker room is still not going to be together, and I think the Bills are going to come in and beat them by at least 2 possessions.
I will take the Bills win by a safety. I would gladly take a Jets loss, but they keep it close. It'd be great.
Listen, I think the Jets
feel like things are setting up well for the Jets.
I think the Jets, if they're going to turn things around, I think it starts not even with Aaron. I think it starts with the rushing attack. Like when you look at Allen and you look at Hall, these are 2 quality backs, and I think they can work very well together. And you look at like their numbers against Minnesota. I mean, it was abysmal. They have to get that rushing attack going, and that's going to open up the play action. That's going to, have guys creeping up and open up things for Aaron and the audibles he can call at the line and route guys around. But it all starts with the rushing attack. They have to do that. And even check down. Both those guys are pretty good pass catchers. Get them into the mix early. I think they have to do that. Buffalo is so quarterback dependent with Josh Allen. He likes to run. The running game is tailed off a little bit, but James Cook is still a very good back. I think both teams are going to keep the ball on the ground a little bit more. So I like the under in this game here. And also with an interim coach, I don't think they want to blow things up and do things too sexy, maybe kind of simplify things a little bit offensively for New York. So I like the under 40.5 here.
Yeah, you know where all that starts from, and that's play calling. And they actually have a better play caller than they did last week. It doesn't matter who this guy is. I don't know who he is, but he's better than Hackett.
Yeah, he's better than Hackett. But if he calls 30 run plays like he's supposed to, and Aaron Rodgers changes 23 of them to pass plays, and it doesn't matter.
I think those, you bring up a good point. I mean, if he checks out of it, the run has to work early. They can't go away from it. Like you have to commit. And even if the run isn't working, maybe short passing game, but you have to get these backs involved. It can't all be on Garrett Wilson. You can't. Conklin has emerged well. He looked good at tight end, but they don't have a super deep receiving core. You have to use the weapons that you have on the field, and they got 2 pretty good weapons there in the backfield, and they got to let those guys be free and make some plays.
Let them cook.
Yeah, let them cook. All right. So Chris, to recap your NFL plays, you got Jags and Bears. You took
Bears.
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 The Bears, minus the one there in London, and then Dallas and Detroit. You took
the over
52.5, and then for Buffalo and the Jets, you took
Jets plus 2.5.
Jets plus 2.5. Real quick, too, one thing I forgot to mention this earlier. Going to the London game, I just want to bring this up. This is from the War of 1812. This is when the British burned the White House in the War of 1812, and this war pretty much ended up being inconsequential because all like borders went back to like where they were before the war. This was essentially, hey, we're not going to win. Hey, you're not going to win, and we got other shit to do. Let's just pretend this never happened and reset everything, and let's just waste all this. That's pretty much what this war was. As punishment for that war, that's why we're sending Jacksonville and Chicago over there right now. That's why you have to watch that game, England, because you burned the White House. So you have to watch Jags Bears as your final reparations for the War of 1812. I do just want to put that out there. We're not sending Patrick Mahomes out there, to take on, CJ Stroud or something. We're not sending them that.
This was supposed to be a better game when they scheduled it. The Bears were favored to make the playoffs for whatever reason, and I think the Jags might have been too.
Also, a couple weeks from now, Germany's getting their reparations.
Yeah, we'll talk about that one. Yeah. But Germany, you got to pay. You got a lot to pay for. We're going to make you pay. All right.
I hope we see I hope we see some Cookie Monsters in the stands there. Just to show them.
Scotty, on your card here, you got the Commanders and the Ravens. Baltimore laying 6.5.
Why is this on your card, Scotty? Why? Why are you jinxing us?
I'm not picking a side here.
Under is 51.5. He just gave away his pick. Over under is 51.5. 1 p.m. on CBS. Real quick before you go to your pick here, I wanted to bring up this chart. This is from 33rd Team Dan Pizzuto's rankings here. His quarterback power rankings, 2 to 3 top quarterbacks in the NFL according to power rankings. There you see Daniels at number 1 and Lamar at 3. Daniels this week saying he didn't want the comparison to Lamar Jackson. He's his own quarterback, which I also feel is kind of a lazy comparison. Oh, black quarterback that can throw and run. He's Lamar Jackson. But 2 of the premier quarterbacks in the league right now.
Is this based off of advanced analytics or just what he feels?
He's basing it off the analytics and also his individual ranking of how they've played thus far. That's why you have a for Drake May, because he's yet to
Sam Darnold number 22.
Yeah,
based on this year, he should be higher. So I don't know what this is.
That's his ranking.
Carr is number 7.
I don't have his whole system here in front of me here, but so his power rankings here for week 6, the 2 of the top 3 quarterbacks. That being said, let's go into it here. Washington and Baltimore, the Beltway battle. Apparently the mayors have made a wager. Apparently the mayor of Baltimore wants crab cakes from DC if the Commanders win. I don't know of any good crab cakes in DC. That doesn't make sense, especially when you're Baltimore's mayor.
The wings with mumbo sauce?
Yeah, and I don't know what the mayor of DC gets if Baltimore wins. I just assume shell casings. They don't even make that in the city anymore. Maybe you get like a string of dilapidated row houses in West Baltimore. I don't know. A syringe from John Hopkins.
They get right to the wire.
Yeah.
We got to add some of the drops in here. That's crazy.
Anyway, go on here, Scotty.
But so both teams are 4-1 to the over. We have the top 2 scoring offenses and points per game so far this year. Daniels is breaking obscure records every week that we see on the graphics. He's the first player to hit, and it's like 6 or 7 different categories. Their stats are always funny to me. But this is a no-brainer over. So I am taking the under 51.5 here. I'm probably going to wait to bet it because I do feel like it's going to get up to 52.5. So if you want to bet the over in this game, bet it now. If you want to wait and bet the under, that would make more sense. But But yeah, I saw a stat. I think it was on Action Network. I don't know if this is correct or not. I'm assuming it is. But prior to this week, there's been 4 games where the total was closed at 50 or over. I figured it would be more than that. So I don't know if I trust that stat fully, but all 4 of those games went under. And this is just another game that everybody's going to be on the over. And I just think it's going to be, we're kind of rivals just because we're close in proximity. We play every preseason.
Yeah.
Oh no, I just think this is a huge game, especially for the Commanders. Yeah, and I just think it's not something. There are going to be some turnovers or something. Daniels and Jackson will probably have an interception each, and I just think it's going to stay under this high total.
I have this game on my card as well. Derrick Henry's been a revelation for Baltimore. I mean, leads the NFL in rushing. I think a lot of us thought this guy had no more tread on his tires. The King was dead. No, the King is quite alive, and I think this adds a whole other dimension to that running attack. And it's helped Lamar as well in the passing attack. I know Rashard Bateman, I think, is a little nicked up going into this game. We'll see what he is, but I really like Zay Flowers as well. For Baltimore. I actually am going to take Baltimore minus 6.5 here. I think Washington keeps it close. I think it's going to be probably the best game of the week, but I like Baltimore to win by a touchdown here at home.
I'm just hoping that we keep it close and we look good in the process. I hope we're not frauds, and we're about to be fraud checked, so let's see what happens.
All right.
Yeah, we'll see. I do think, though, you mentioned Zay Flowers. I think our corners are not good at all. Our defense has been overachieving the last couple of weeks. But I do think Dan Quinn has been given those 2 corners help playing cover 2. We'll see what Lamar Jackson can do with that. But yeah, maybe play your tight ends this week to finally do something for the Ravens.
Yeah. And that's a great equalizer too, is Lamar, because no matter what you do in the secondary, that guy's feet, he can always take off and rip off something for 40 yards. It's got to be a very frustrating team to game plan for.
Yeah.
All right. So then next up here, and Scotty, I'll share this one with you too, because I have this on my card. You got Texans at Patriots. Houston laying the 6.5 going to New England. Drake May getting his first career start, over under 37.5. 1 p.m. from Foxborough on CBS Mañana. You're up, sir.
Yeah, I bet won the Texans last week, and that hit. I bet against them 2 weeks ago, and that also hit. So I feel like I got a decent read on them. Given pretty much the same analysis I gave 2 weeks ago, going back to week 8 of last year, the Texans have only beat one team by more than 5 points. So I'm going with the Patriots plus 6.5. I know the Patriots have been terrible, but the public is heavily on Houston, and they just don't beat teams by a lot. I know we should probably fade Drake May with this first start, but I think he's going to – that offense can't be much worse than what it has been. I think he's going to bring some energy to the team. He's going to use his feet. And, yeah, I think they're going to be able to keep it close. No Nico Collins for the Texans. That's been C.J. Stroud's guy. He was on pace to break for 2,000 yards this year. So, that's the guy he likes to look to. So, they're going to be fine with Tank Dell and Stephon Diggs there. They'll get more targets. But, yeah, this is going to be one of those typical Texans, keep it close, win by 3-4 points. Give me the Patriots plus the 6.5.
I haven't looked. Is Joe Mixon back in this game, or is it like Agumbawale?
Yes.
Okay.
He's back.
Yeah, so you got Joe Mixon back. You got, Drake May, his stats in 2024 is 1 for 4. Excuse me. He's 4 for 8. He's played one game. He's 4 for 8 for 22 yards and sacked twice in his NFL experience so far in one game. And now
doesn't mean anything.
I know it doesn't mean anything, but this is what I'm saying. Very little experience. Now he's making his first start. Offense is already struggling. how much they're going to ask this guy to do. It's probably going to be a very base, very vanilla offense. You're not going to throw a ton out at him right now in this first start where the offense is already struggling. You have a Houston team with C.J. Stroud, one of the best young quarterbacks in the league. You're getting Joe Mixon back. Yeah, Nico's out, but you still got Tank Dell. You still have Stephon Diggs. And trust me, after all those years in Buffalo, you don't think Stephon Diggs wants to twist the knife into New England a little bit. I like Houston minus 6.5 here.
Makes me feel better.
Chris? What do you mean, like in the AOL chat in 1997?
No, I'm trying to drive engagement, bro.
ASL. I'm 29 in Virginia. Are you single and on the East Coast? I will take all kinds. Is that? Are you in the chat room?
No, I was commenting on our Facebook post. Hopefully, driving engagement. I'm sorry. I'm just trying to help the podcast. My bad.
I'm just trying to help the ball club, coach.
I intentionally stayed away from this game because of all the Texans' maladies and the Patriots just being the Patriots and absolute dog shit. So I have no read on this game. Probably under 37.5, but whatever.
Okay. And next up, Scotty has a NFC South tilt here. Tampa going to New Orleans, taking on the Saints. Buccaneers laying 3.5 points. Spencer Rattler, former Oklahoma Sooner, former South Carolina Gamecock, getting his first NFL start in place of the injured Derek Carr. Over-under is 41.5, 1 p.m. for the Mercedes-Benz Superdome tomorrow on Fox.
Yeah, I'm going under that 41.5 here. The last 5 head-to-head matchups between these two have gone under this number. The highest total in those 5 was 36 in their last matchup. Yeah, like you said, Spencer Rattler making his first start. I kind of feel like the Saints are going to cover, but yeah, I'm just going with this under. I do think that Spencer Rattler is probably good for one long touchdown pass to either Shaheed or hopefully Olave. But then he's also going to be probably having 2 or 3 picks because he's going to take chances if they let him.
Yeah.
If not, then that means that they're just going to keep it on the ground and pound Kamara and whoever, if Jamal Williams is playing. But yeah, the game plan is probably going to be very conservative, and then Rattler's going to air it out when he gets his chance. But yeah, and then just Tampa, I know their offense has been rolling, but these, like I said, these matchups have just been hitting under in the last few years, and I think that's going to remain the case.
You know, you look at New Orleans, they started off 2-0. They scored 47 points against the Panthers, another 44 points in the romp against the Cowboys. And then after that, it just went downhill. 15-12 loss to the Eagles, 26-24 loss at the Falcons. And then last week, 26-13 loss at Kansas City. That offense certainly sputtering here. I'm going to go with the under here as well. Rookie quarterback. I think Tampa will win this game probably by 7 or more points, but I don't see New Orleans doing much offensively. I really feel like they're going to load up the box, say, hey, we're going to take away Kamara. You beat us with Spencer Rattler. And I've seen a lot of Spencer Rattler play over the years. I've watched a lot of South Carolina games. Look, that guy can be fun, and he'll make some great throws, but he is also a guy that'll make you want to pull your hair out sometimes too. And you're right, how much they're going to open it up, how many chances are they going to let them take? I feel like they're not going to let them have the full repertoire. They're going to try to simplify things and run the ball, and I think Tampa knows that and going to try to take it away. I'm going under 41.5 here.
I see the logic behind this, but it's 41.5. The Bucs offense is very good. The Saints have a ton of weapons. I would take the over 41.5. I can see this being a 30-17 game easily.
Don't hate it. Don't hate it.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, also, Mike Evans also has the potential to get thrown out of this game too. He fights Marshawn Lattimore every time they play. So
that's very true. This
changes everything.
You know, what is it? The hockey, you get a Gordie Howe hat trick, which is a fight, an assist, and a goal. Like Mike Evans, he'll have 4 catches for 28 yards, 2 touchdowns, three left hooks, and 1 ejection. in this game. Like maybe we had to come up with some kind of stat like that and call it
At least
Mike
one
Evans.
unnecessary roughness penalty.
Oh, without a
At
doubt.
least.
I am
Going.
good. I was gonna say I am rooting for Rattler. I think it's just because he was on that show QB1 back in the day, where they follow high school quarterbacks, even though he was like a big douchebag on that show. But it's like, yeah, I've been following him since then, so I kind of root for him, I guess. I just think those South Carolina teams he was on, he had no help. That's why you would see his moments where he would just go off. So I don't know. I think what round was he picked then? Like the fifth?
Let me look
fifth
at
round pick, sixth.
Don't forget, he
in
came in as the number one quarterback in the country and went to Oklahoma and then got supplanted by Caleb Williams.
Well, yeah, because they brought Caleb Williams in.
He got benched in that comeback.
Caleb Williams couldn't throw back then.
Texas Oklahoma game.
Yeah, he could. He came into Oklahoma and was amazing
running the ball
right away.
Spencer Rattler
He was
a fifth round pick, 150th pick this year.
Well, I think he needed to be humbled because he was a huge douchebag on that show, and I don't know, maybe that Caleb Williams thing's humbled him because he just thought he was hot shit. I don't know. I'm interested to see how he looks as a fifth round pick. I think he can. Yeah,
we saw him
maybe.
We saw him throw a dime while we were at that weird beer place where nobody was at after our fantasy draft.
Oh God, I totally forgot about that place. Jesus, that was what I feel like someone might have been murdered in the back there. It was like no one was there. It was really weird. Good.
They have good beer though. It is weird.
Yeah, you might die, but you had good beer there. Yeah, that was a weird place. All right, so to recap Scotty's card here, Baltimore and Washington, you got
under 51.5,
and then the Texans Patriots
plus 6.5,
and then Bucs Saints
under 41.5.
And then all of my picks have been in common with you guys. So to run through these again, I got Jacksonville, my +1 there in London against the Bears. I'm taking Baltimore minus the 6.5 against the Comanches, and then the Texans minus the 6.5 there, taking on the Patriots. All right, boys. So we got our underdog parlay of the week here as I get that graphic loaded in. And last week, I just want to pat myself on the back here a little bit. I was the only one to win last week. I don't have last week's graphic.
For the first
deleted it. But I told you I was calling them Hogs, the Arkansas Razorbacks getting the win. They don't call it Vietnam for nothing, okay? That win, of course, in a very Arkansas way, you get a huge win. It's overshadowed by fucking Vanderbilt. No one's talking about that win because Vanderbilt goes out and does the unthinkable and beats Alabama. But I'm sure they had a good night in Fayetteville. So this is our underdog parlay this week. Scotty, you've already mentioned USC and Penn State. You had the floor.
Yeah, just like I was saying, Lincoln Riley at home. Penn State, first road game with any type of travel. USC is going to be desperate, and we'll see what Drew Aller is really made of. Go USC.
Chris, you're keeping with the abbreviations there. You got LSU at home taking on Ole Miss.
LSU night game. Ole Miss overrated. Easy money.
Going with the Tigers there. And then for me, you got an undefeated Iowa State coming into Morgantown, laying the 3 points, taking on the Mountaineers. West Virginia 3-2, but they're 2-0 in the Big 12. West Virginia's 2 losses were to then number 9 Penn State. That was that opening weekend game that took like 7 hours because of the storm delays, and a loss at Pitt. Those aren't bad losses. I believe the last time I checked, those teams are both undefeated. So good news for West Virginia. They don't have any more teams from the Keystone State on their schedule this year. Iowa State's defense is good. They're 13th nationally in yards allowed, but the passing D only gives up 133 yards a game. That's like 5th best in the country. And they only give up 10 points a game, which is 6th best in the country. But their Achilles heel may be the rushing attack. They're kind of middle of the pack in that rankings, and West Virginia is a rushing team. They're 15th in the country, averaging 222 yards a game on the ground. They average nearly 43 runs a game. In fact, they ran it 65 times for 389 yards last week in the win over Oklahoma State. And for Iowa State, this is going to side with their quarterback, Rocco Becht. He's going to have to make plays against a less than stellar West Virginia pass defense. They're 100th nationally in the FBS, West Virginia's secondary. The key for West Virginia, running back C.J. Donaldson. In 3 games where he has over 14 carries, he has 70 yards or more. The Cyclones had to be gap sound because West Virginia comes at you from every angle. But look, guys, it's a Saturday night in Morgantown, West Virginia. You're giving these guys all day to drink and get rowdy, which is already a loud and rowdy West Virginia crowd. Oh, and by the way, it's a blackout in Morgantown, and they're going with the coal mining uniforms here. You see the black
Nice.
with the gray there. You see they took the helmets and the uniforms. They're inspired by the coal miners. Yeah, this is going to be a special atmosphere. It's going to be lit. It's going to be loud. They're going to be burning some goddamn couches in Morgantown when this game is over. I like the Mountaineers here to spring the upset. I got them at plus 140. So you put these 3 together, your odds are plus 1,400 on ESPN Bet right now. Scotty, if you go into your wallet and pull out a nice crisp Ben Franklin, which I'm sure you have many of them, and you put that on this parlay, what do you win?
You will win $1,400.
Chris,
And I like this one. This is probably my favorite one that we've done so far. I think this is hidden.
It's very attainable. Chris, have you ever seen $1,400 in your life?
Oh God, it's been a long time. It's been so long.
That was many cigarettes ago, sir.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, I like this too. I think each week we have something that's kind of zany out there. I know I took the chance last week with Arkansas, albeit you boys were in it with Hawaii and Kansas. Couple bounces of the ball the other way in those games. We might have hit that. I usually take the zany, crazy one here, but I almost had Colorado over K-State in this one, but
I'm glad you took West Virginia.
Yeah, I'm glad I did too. I just don't see Colorado being the matchup with like a physical team like Kansas State. I think they have more talent at skill positions, but I don't like them physically.
I almost took Arizona over BYU, and I'll probably bet that.
It's not a bad play.
The BYU like night games versus day games, the splits are insane. BYU wins at home at night, and they usually lose when it's not a night game, which is weird for the state of Utah. But I digress.
Speaking of Utah, real quick before we get out of here, did you guys see that they sold more beer? I forget the exact stat, but the opening game for the Utah Hockey Club, they sold more than like they did for any Jazz game, I want to say, like last year.
Well, that's because the prices are like a third of the price.
Well, they lowered it for the Jazz. What's up?
So they can only buy alcohol like during certain time ranges, right?
Utah's got some weird state rules. I know, like, if you went to a restaurant before and you got a mixed drink, like if you got a gin and tonic or whatever, they used to have like this little frosted glass thing that came up to like right here. You couldn't watch the bartender make the drink. It was really weird.
That's sketchy.
Yeah, and then
that's how people join the church.
And then they had like what is it? I think the beer can only be like 4.5% or whatever. Like if you buy like a Bud Light in Utah, it's like a different Bud Light than like the rest of the country.
Yeah.
It's got like a
same in
lower
Oklahoma.
ABV. It's crazy.
Oklahoma has that too.
And there's some damn good breweries in Utah too. Great American Beer Festival going on right now in Denver, Colorado. I've had a bunch of Utah beer while in Colorado. There's some good breweries. It's sad they had to live under archaic conditions there. But yeah, apparently Utah Hockey Club makes you drink.
Oh yeah.
Or just hockey in general.
Yeah, well, I feel like hockey people are a pretty good drinking crowd, and hopefully this parlay will hit, and we have a pretty good drinking crowd in Morgantown tonight, and we can all celebrate and cash some checks. So, all right, boys, that'll do it. Let's wrap it up. Let's go win some money. Let's go make some bets. I got more beers to drink and some chili to make, and I'm also about to die of this sickness that I have, so I need another hot toddy. Make sure to do what?
So go with God.
Oh, via con Dios. Make sure to join us.
It's the year of our Lord.
The year of our Lord, 2024, sir. Make sure to join us right back here Thursday night, 6:45 for another Let's Not Do This podcast. You can catch this online on YouTube, Rumble, X, Facebook, all that good stuff. Until then, aloha means goodbye.